So we learned that there's no water, there's no confusion, there's nothing in the world, nothing that happens in the world that can ever extinguish the godly soul of a Jew. And this godly soul of the Jew is like the fire that came down in the Holy Temple from above. So we see that the essence of Judaism here is very dynamic. It is very dynamic. That it's fire. The whole temple was the idea of fire, changing, making a change. And so God does basically the whole thing, but he wants us also to do the whole thing. How does that work out? 200%. This is only when there is this 200%. God does the whole thing. We do that's what makes everything whole. So we have fire that comes down from God, from above, and fire that has to come from below. We'll see what the fire is. So it says, B'chol zeh, nevertheless, hine behold, gam naharot lo yishtafua. Also, rivers cannot wash it off. Lefi, now we're turning the page. Because the rishvei eish, that this flaming fire, ahava of love, shebenefesh elokit, in the godly soul, who is bedugmat, it is like eish shalamayla, it's like fire from above. The only maybe example that we can find now in the world of such a thing is how people love themselves. People love themselves without limit. How much people love themselves, how much people worry about themselves, how much they care about naturally, automatically. To the point when if a person doesn't think about himself, he's called a hero. He's a hero. He gives his life for a cause. He devotes his life to others. He's willing to risk his life in order to save the sick, to help the poor. He doesn't think about himself. That's a hero. But the natural thing is people naturally feel themselves, and they don't just feel themselves, they love themselves. And in a way, it's a healthy thing. A person should love himself. But you have to love yourself for the right reasons. Like I said about the person with the fish, the joke that I made in last class. And the person's eating fish with both hands, and the rabbi says to him, why are you doing that? Because you love fish. You don't love fish, you love yourself. If you love the fish, you let the fish eat you. Same thing, people naturally love themselves. And they fool themselves into saying that it's not, but it's a natural feeling. Says the Rebbe that every Jew has a natural love for God, not just a recognition, not just an awareness, not just a philosophical certainty, an intellectual comprehension. How do you say? Identity. It's not intellectual. It's a love. You only love things that are really valuable to you, right? If you get a check of $1 million and it hasn't got your name on it, it doesn't make you excited. If the check has your name on it, then all of a sudden you get excited. The person who gave it to you, you love him. Well, we have to realize that God is giving us everything. He's creating us. He's making us what we are. Everything that was valuable in the world, everything that we love, everything that ignites us in the world, God is creating. Only to look at this positive aspect, when you think about it for 1 second, and there's tremendous love for God. That's what's supposed to happen when you pray to God. Prayer is called the service of the heart. Avodat halev. Avdo belavav shalem. To serve God with your heart. You're supposed to feel the Creator. You're supposed to feel how good the Creator is. That's the whole, if you look at the meaning of the words, in Jewish prayer book, you'll see after Hodu, after the beginning, you'll see that it's talking about the world, and the stars are praising God, and the trees are praising God, and the rivers are praising God, and God took us out of Egypt, and God He helps us, and He loves us. And when you start to think about this, how God's creating the world, He's creating the stars, He's creating the heavens, and the angels are all you start to realize that maybe there's something to get excited about over here. Maybe God really is valuable. Maybe God is really creating the diamonds, He's creating the money, He's creating the honor, He says this is called a flaming fire of godliness inside of every single Jew. This is called the godly soul. Who bedugmas eisha lamayla, the godly soul in every Jew is like fire from above. Like I said, the natural soul is that you feel yourself. You're certain that you exist. No amount of convincing in the world can convince you that you don't exist. Who are you trying to convince? Obviously, I exist. The godly soul is even more certain that God exists, because God's existence is infinite. It's infinitely real. God creates everything. And it's incomprehensible how this is so, but it's the godly soul feels it, that it is so. This is like fire from above. There's no water that can put it out. And in this fire from above, tzorich liyod has to be ha'akrava, the sacrifice, the bringing close of the nefesh habahamis, of the animal soul. Like I said, in the time of the temple, they took the animal and they actually killed it and burned it up. We don't have to burn up our godly soul. What we have to do is just get it excited about the right things. Shagam hu, that also the animal soul, yellow, will be to it ahava lelokus, love to God. You start to look positively at the Creator and at the whole creation. The Lubavitcher Rebbe said a person has to look at three things and he won't come to make mistakes. The three things are God, himself, and the world. We'll talk about this later. But a person, God, you have to get excited about God. That's the idea of prayer in the morning. You have to take time, think about it. Try to feel it, even for 1 second. And also a person has to think about the world. Is that we're here in the world in order to make the world a good place. You can't ignore the world. And the world that's our work. But who can do it? Only ourselves. We have to fix ourselves up. A person has to fix up his own personality, his own negative character traits. Refine himself, like it says, eskafia, sapcha. Refine yourself, control yourself. Transform yourself. And then you can use the power that you have from your godly soul, which is Hashem, to fix up the world. It all revolves around you. But that's what it means. You have to take the animal soul and transform it, convince it that it also should have love for God. God is creating it. Like it says, you should love God with all of your heart. The rabbis say, with your two desires, your two powers of desire. The power of desire of the godly soul, and also hanefesh habahamis, the animal soul, yelo ahava lelokus, should be love to God. There's a difference between the animal soul and the yetzer hora, the evil impulse. We'll talk about that later. Dezeh bo al yedei. How can we do it? Let's get practical. Hitlabshut, by inserting the nefesh elokit, the godly soul, into the animal soul. The techila that in the beginning, hari nefesh habahamid, your animal soul, in other words, your natural soul, your natural human feeling of I exist. In the beginning, this natural soul, ein lo shum yediyah, it has no knowledge of a hergesh or feeling, b'inyanei elokus, in matters of God whatsoever. Like in Russia, in communist Russia, Boga niet. There's no such thing as God. We can live our life very well without these superstitious ideas. Let's just deal with reality. Reality is there's a world. That's what we have to deal with. But also there's another reality, that God took the Jews out of Egypt and he gave them the Torah, and God creates the world. Is that reality or is it not reality? Is it real or not? Right? So you go, no, it's not reality. That's how I deal with it. It's not reality. But the fact is it is reality. That's part of reality. You have to deal with this reality. There's a God that's creating the world. You can say, oh, it's not real. That's what the communist said. It's not real. But that's a lie. It is real. How do you deal with this? God really did take the Jews out of Egypt. He really did. You can ignore it if you want. You can ignore that this woman is my grandmother. You can ignore it, but she's really your grandmother. You can do it, but the fact is that God really did give the Torah. Is there really God? He really cares. He really took the Jews out of Egypt. He really has laws. He really has a will. God really creates us. He really loves us. Really, maybe not. Maybe not, then you don't have to no problem. But if maybe yes, maybe yes, and maybe you can find out certainly yes. That's what the Jewish people are. That's Abraham. Abraham was certain God existed. God did anything you wanted to him, put him through 10 terrible tests, proofs that God is not good, that doesn't care, doesn't exist, etc. Abraham said, you can do whatever you want to me, God, but I still believe in you. That's the essence of the Jewish soul. Nothing can put it out. And in the beginning, the animal soul has no feeling of God at all. Amnam bar al yadei, by means of hitlabshut, by means of inserting the godly soul into the animal soul. What does it mean? Mitbonen, you start to contemplate and think. B'itbonenut eloki, about God. God really creates the world? Could it be God is creating me? Could it be that God really cares? Could it be that God is really good? Could it be that everything that happens is for me? Everything that's in the whole world is a miracle? Could it be? You start to think these thoughts, the gam thoughts that also the animal soul, yochel asigo, can understand it. Right? You say, okay, good. God creates the sun, He creates the moon, He creates the stars, He creates this. God creates music. Music? Music is godly? Didn't think about music, right? Like I said, God creates everything. Music, God creates Harley Davidson motors. Harley Davidson? Really? Huh? I start to get it. I said, you really believe this, that God creates Harleys? Yes. Wow. And there's something to learn from it? Of course. You can learn power, you can learn control, you can learn brakes, what the good gears are, you can go up to a higher gear. Put this into your own personal life. I start to understand. I saw this one place where it says that there were these Harley motorcycle guys, and they took little sick kids, kids for rides on their bike. Oh, the kids were so happy. They felt they were meaningful. In the end, I think that they're beautiful motorcycles. I think it's personally, But they make this choppers and stuff. I don't know, but just the idea, it's such an American thing. And you can do something good with it, right? The kids felt, look at these big, strong guys. They're my friends. Feels good. It's worthwhile. And these big, strong guys, they can beat people up. Look, they'll give you a kiss on the forehead. He gives me a hug. Oh, see what you can do with your strength. You can do with your... Right? It's impressive. Makes impressive. You get off your Harley, would take off your leather jacket with the thing on it. Would you like to put on tefillin? I never thought this would happen. So you see, it says a value. Hine al yadei, by means of this, nase hit karbus and nefesh habahamis, by means of this, the animal soul starts to get excited also. Kamosha Gatuv, like it says, b'makom acher shenase chakika klalis, it makes a general impression. B'nefesh habahamis, and the animal soul, and your natural soul, that God is also davar muvanu musag. It's a thing that's understandable. Right? Suddenly the animal soul, I remember I had a Chabad house in a place called Ohr Yehuda, and the taxi drivers, I was very friendly with them.
Ohr Yehuda over here?
Ohr Yehuda over here. And they were very, they were non-religious Iraqi Jews. We could have a whole class on Iraqi Jews. Anyway, they were very non-religious, but we were very close. I made my son's bar mitzvah. They all came to my son's bar mitzvah and everything. We became very friendly. Anyway, it came up to a thing where they had this reason that they should keep Shabbos now, even though they were anti-religious and they were this, but their parents were religious and they all had respect a little bit for, genuine rabbis and this. They had respect. So they said, well, should we keep Shabbos? There was big arguments and screaming and cursing, and there was almost fights. Half of them didn't want to keep Shabbos, half of them did. And finally what happened was that they decided they're going to do it. They're going to try it. So they kept Shabbos, and they lost money. Everybody, instead of making, let's say, 10,000 shekels a month, they made only 7,000 shekels a month. And this went on. They were yelling and screaming, and this went on 2 months, 3 months. And finally, in the end, it calmed down and they just did it. So I said, what happened? You started making money? No, I said, everybody were making less. Fact is, we're making less. But everybody's happy. We have no debts at the end of the month. And everything seems to work out. We can't figure out how it worked out.
Amazing how that works.
And there's no arguments in the family. And we're together with the kids one day a week. And in the beginning it was really hard and the kids didn't want to stay home, but now the kids are enjoying it. And it's, the kids, they're not so, hot, crazy about Nike shoes. You have to have this type of hairdo and you have to have this, right? And suddenly the things are more common. We don't understand it, but it worked out. Suddenly the animal soul starts to understand, listen, you can rely on God. You rely on God. You don't have to be like, these mafia movies, the Godfather, the guy gets in your way, kill him. Kill him, knock him out, knock out the opposition. He gets in.
It's business.
Competition, yes, for the family. For the competition. Tony, take him out. That's what life is about? Sure, I won, I made it, I'm at the top. Top of the world. That's really what life is about. Maybe let God do some things. No, I can't do it. That's what the animal soul says. The godly soul says, let's let God surprise us. Let's see what happens. Maybe he's full of anger. Let's let God take care of something. Suddenly the animal soul starts to realize, hey, maybe God really exists. Maybe he really cares. Maybe this world is God's world. And he's letting me be a partner with it. This is amazing. It's a big miracle. It doesn't make any sense, but it's true. That's the Jewish people. Afterwards, Rav Tavuas B'Koach Shor, afterwards there's tremendous benefit from the power of the ox, shemitapech, that it transforms mibiham yuso, from its animalness, va'ola, and it elevates v'nichlal, and becomes included in this fiery flame of chukah, of desire of the godly soul. Ukamosh al yedei korban gashmi, like on a physical sacrifice. What would they do? They would take mitbarer, a nitzutze, the sparks of Domen, Sameach, and Chai, which we'll talk about, God willing, in the next class.